Hello and welcome to the presentation. This video is the hero's journey to freedom from depression and anxiety. Whether depression and anxiety, panic, phobia, feeling down in the dumps, or just out of sorts is new for you, or you've been battling these feelings for most of your life, you're in the right place. This video is really all about how to go from fear, phobia, anxiety, depression, and feeling down in the dumps to confident, powerful, and brave with hypnosis and NLP. I'm your host, Matthew Tweedy. I'm a clinical hypnopsychotherapist and NLP coach with a master's in both hypnopsychotherapy and NLP. I'm also an internationally recognized trainer and educator in hypnosis, NLP, timeline therapy, and NLP coaching. I specialize in helping people become the best version of themselves, and I've helped hundreds of clients and students resolve a myriad of different problems and challenges to become the best version of themselves. My goal for you today is to provide you with everything you need to know so that you can go from fear, phobia, depression, anxiety, pain and suffering to just being confident, powerful, and brave with hypnosis and NLP. Even if you think you're too far gone for help, also if you've never even heard of NLP or knew that the tools within NLP and hypnosis can assist you to overcome an issue that you've battled with and have struggled to overcome in 6 to 8 hours. The strategies and methods that you're about to discover are the exact same strategies that I've helped hundreds of my clients to be able to gain resolution from old, unwanted habits and behaviors rapidly and easily. This is the many faces of Matthew Tweedy, just so you can be sure who's presenting. Now, what we're going to cover in this presentation, firstly, your journey to healing and what you can expect in the process. Did you know you had an unconscious mind? Actually, I'm going to be speaking about your mind as a whole and explaining and giving you a deeper understanding so you can truly begin to gain control, as knowledge is power. I'm going to be discussing the crossed wires of the mind, how behaviors and moods like depression, withdrawal, anxiety, panic, and OCD arise, and how the process works to become free of such problems. Now let's talk about what sort of private coaching clients I work with. Overwhelmed women who have spent their lives putting others first over their health and well-being, who have decided that it's time to make a change and start to take care of themselves. Men that have been taught to not show emotion and feel stressed, overworked, and unsupported, and that are sick of broken and unhelpful behaviors and coping strategies. Career-minded people who are ready to take the next step but know that something is holding them back and have not been able to get in charge of their health consistently. So this particular slide really does cover a hero's journey and the process of how it can typically work. You know, this is really just an overview and a general way of how the healing process and journey can work and how you can expect to go through the process in getting your resolution. I've actually done this enough times that I understand the healing process and journey of clients and what to expect for the vast majority of people that commit to the process and follow the steps of the program. Someone who's ready to break free of the shackles of a long-term problem. Now, I'm sure you know all about that. Being in an emotionally charged state isn't always the best time to make a decision. Making decisions from this place hasn't really worked out for many people. It's just not the right place to make a rational decision from. Paradoxically so, being at a place where you've had enough of this problem is the right place to take action now. Making decisions from emotionally charged states has never really worked out for my clients either. So this case study is all about working together to educate you so you can be educated on the decision that you're making and make the right decision based on the latest neuroscience and evidence-based hypnopsychotherapy and biochemistry. So, how does the process work? Well, day 1 through 14, that's the kickoff phase. And in many ways, this is really setting the scene and the tone to your healing journey from the initial phone consult. And at that point, we'll get a deeper understanding of the presenting problem and what you want out of the process. Beginning to get the picture of what true freedom from the problem looks like. We're going to be working on setting an intention and starting to define the outcome for your healing, taking a deep dive into the unconscious patterns of the problem and also the solution. As I'm coming from the outside, I really want to get a clear picture so I can begin to set my intention to guide you towards resolution. Once you've completed the paperwork and you're in the system, I'll then get in contact with you. And we're going to look at the tasking together and get an understanding of the coaching model for your journey towards empowerment. We'll then move into the initial consultation, taking history and psychoeducation, and furthermore, setting intention and getting everything ready to springboard into success. Now the next phase, day 14 to 21. On average, that's the doubt phase. And this is where people think it seems too easy. It seems too simple, but the truth is that it's just the way the process works and how it can work for you. You'll see this when you get to the phase of belief, which is the next step. Now, a lot of people feel, how can I become free of a problem that I've had for such a long time? This may also be confronting to many people, as this is when the doubt comes in. It's confronting because how could I possibly be healed permanently from a problem that I've just been dragging around like a ball and chain? A lot of people also have a lot of doubt that change can happen so rapidly as it does when we begin the process. It will be your job to leave those doubts at the door so you can step into success and continue on the road to victory. It's important to keep in mind that all habits are similar to fires that have started. Now, how quick does it take to light a fire? Well, rather quickly if everything's lined up in the right way. And equally so, to contain and put out a fire can be almost instantaneous when you have the right conditions and tools to do the job. At this point, after you're educated and you've started to begin the process of doing tasking, you will have loosened the grip on the problem. Some of the doubts have come up of, why am I thinking so differently? And when is he going to start waving a magic wand or doing something to me? And I always like to stress at this point, this is a do with process, not a do to process. You are designed to heal naturally and rapidly, and to produce changes naturally and rapidly. That's just what your neurology was designed to do. It's my job to reconnect you with the natural resources that live inside of you, connect you with your healing and transformation ability, while also connecting you with your infinite potential. Now, day 21 to 23, that's belief. Belief occurs when, during the third and fourth session, you begin to reflect back on the old problem and notice how much you've already changed. It's a fact that we, as humans, forget about suffering when it's disappeared and when it's no longer present the way that it used to be. That's why with some people, they almost feel as if nothing has changed. They're just assessing themselves and saying, well, isn't this how I always was? Meanwhile, everything has changed. It's just really that they've been able to reconnect with the true essence of them. And when you reconnect with that aspect of you, it feels so natural. It's at this point that we're going to direct your attention back to where you started, the language you were using, where it really hits you that, wow, I really have transformed. And we haven't even started on the good stuff yet. After reflecting on improvements, we start working on clearing negative emotions and limiting beliefs. And when it comes to when we move to day 23 to 28, the trust phase, that's when we clear all of the negative emotions, limiting beliefs that were the foundation of the unwanted habit and behavior. It's typically at this stage that I get a lot of calls from friends and family members of my clients wanting to know how they can work with me too. I call these the Raving Fan Referrals. At this stage, you're not only trusting the process, but I'm working with you to become empowered in trusting your own ability not just to heal, but to stay healed and further propel yourself into success. If you use these tools and strategies that I provide you correctly and diligently and commit to them, you'll discover that you'll be free of these old patterns for life. Day 28 onward, that's the Bliss Phase. The first day of the rest of your life with the tools and strategies to get on with your life free of pain, suffering, and that old presenting problem that left you feeling stuck so you can move forward into that life of your dreams, that bright future, and to ultimately be the best version of you, unlocking your inner potential. Now, it's really all about getting to that place that people want to be, that bliss place that my clients and students have stationed their consciousness and awareness, where they live their new reality from. And now that's just simply how they exist. That's really what this emotional journey is all about. And the one thing to say is it's more of a rough estimate. This is what I see with many of my clients. Now, I've seen clients get results in the first couple of sessions. I've seen clients make huge changes within the first week of working together. But I really just want to be clear that it's nice to have a rough guide and an idea of your map to success and what you can expect for yourself. Did you know you had an unconscious mind? Now, this iceberg is just really a nice depiction of how your mind is represented as a whole. Everything above the waterline is your conscious mind. That's the 5%. Everything below the waterline is your unconscious mind. Now, your conscious mind is logical, rational, linear. It's fact and detail oriented. And if you're making a decision, that's a part of the mind that you're using. Your unconscious mind, the 95, is the rest. So, the 95, your unconscious mind, is in charge of your physiology, running your body, everything from blinking to breathing, organ function, immune system function. All of those things. It's that incredible intelligence that lives inside of you that makes sure you're alive automatically. That's just part of the story though. Your unconscious mind has a lot of other jobs. It's the domain of your emotions. It regulates every one of your emotional responses, whether you're happy, sad, angry, anxious, depressed, motivated, joyful, or not so motivated and joyful. That's your unconscious mind regulating all of those things. There's also more to this story. Your unconscious mind, if we go a little bit deeper, we're looking at jobs like organizing your behaviors and storing your behaviors all of the behaviors that you like about yourself, like getting up, going to work, looking after your family, connecting and relating to other people, caring for your loved ones, driving a car, all of those things. From the most magnificent right through to the most mundane, every behavior that you've done before. With repetition, it has become installed into your deeper mind, just like an app on a smartphone. Now, this is wonderful because it's a very efficient way to store information. And when it comes to behaviors, you want to be able to replicate them easily and naturally. Well, at least the behaviors you want. But when it comes to the behaviors that you don't want, behaviors such as compulsive eating, compulsive drinking and smoking, feeling anxious, depressed, lacking confidence, low self-esteem and self-worth, it doesn't matter. Whether you deem these behaviors to be quote unquote good or bad behaviors, they have become installed and now they're running in the background just like an app on a smartphone, draining your batteries. Now, the highest program of your unconscious mind is to protect you and to keep you safe. The only problem with this is it becomes confused from time to time, and we end up with crossed wires of the deeper mind, and these crossed wires cause internal conflict and further perpetuate the problem that you want to resolve. Now, this is where hypnosis and NLP can help uncrossing those wires and updating the software of your deeper mind. Because let's face it, how are you meant to do the things you want to do in life and produce the results you want to with a bunch of crossed wires of the mind? Now, one of the major ways the deeper mind creates cross wires and any sort of unwanted habit or behavior, it's down to protection and safety. Inside of every person, inside of everyone's unconscious mind is a part of the mind called the guard or the sentry. And that guard has a 24/7 job to scan and look out for danger. It's a full-time job, constantly scanning. So imagine you have a subjective scale of stress between 0 and 10. And at approximately a level 8 out of 10, there's a tripwire for an alarm system. If your stress levels go beyond that 8 out of 10, you go into a fight, flight, or freeze mode. And this is a normal and natural state for human beings to move into when faced with a threat. We've always needed this response to be able to survive and to evolve to this point in history. Now, if we have a prolonged period of stress or a traumatic event, and just to be clear, trauma can be quite a broad term. By definition, trauma could be something horrific, but it could be something rather mild, such as maybe a child having to change schools, maybe being bullied, mum and dad separating, a change of career, the boss having a stern word with you, right through to the loss of a loved one. But when these things happen, the tripwire gets slammed down from that level 8 out of 10 from a sensitivity perspective, way down to a level 1 or a 2 out of 10. Now what you're left with is a hypervigilant, hypersensitive guard. That guard is sleeping with its finger on the trigger, it's sleeping with its eyes open, and as far as it's concerned, everything is a threat. So, often, now we have a behavior installed that does not serve us. Feeling depressed, feeling anxious, a phobic response, an irrational response, withdrawing from the world, hiding under the covers, starting to look for substances to self-soothe or take that pain away. If you make a decision or are led to make a decision that something like binge eating or drinking helps take pain away, or experience some form of stress relief from using a substance, guess what your deeper mind does? It installs a program just like when a child bumps their knee and needs a little kiss on the knee to make it feel better. There's a neurological link that's formed. So perhaps you've developed your own coping strategies to be able to deal with the pain and suffering of depression, anxiety, or a phobic response. Or maybe you haven't, and in which case you've just got a whole lot of unresourceful behaviors that don't serve you in the moment. like seeking reassurance or running away from the situation, maybe not getting out of bed, pulling the covers over your head, hoping that when you emerge, everything is better, but it never is. So whether a depressive mood, a panic attack, or even an intrusive thought pattern, this is a safety program or an app now running in the background of the smartphone. And this program learns to run so well and seamlessly that all of a sudden, it doesn't even feel like you have a choice in the matter. It doesn't feel like you have a choice of your behaviors or how you're thinking or feeling in the moment. To be very clear, hypnosis is not a do-to process. It's a do-with process. It's a process of empowerment. Firstly, I teach you how your deeper mind works. Largely, it's a process of education, educating you on how your mind works so you can work with it rather than against it. Then the next step is assisting you to update the software. And this is done through many forms of change work. We use deep forms of regression, which are rapid and assist you to get your outcome naturally and automatically. We also repattern and reprogram behaviors. We help you to release negative emotions and limiting beliefs and to rebuild your behaviors by design. So collaboratively, we redesign your behaviors and we also rehearse those behaviors in a hypnotic state, creating new neural pathways and new programs of your mind. Now remember, your conscious mind is only 5% and your unconscious is 95%. So if you consciously try to let go of a behavior like this, it's only 5% of your mind you're using. Now, it's kind of like when you wake up in the morning and you think to yourself, I'm going to change, I'm going to be different, I'm going to do things differently. Now, that's only 5% of your mind that you're using. The 95% is pulling in the opposite direction, believing that the old pattern is safe and keeping you safe. It's like a tug of war between 5 and 95% of yourself. It's pretty quick to see which part wins. You see, the guard and those deeper parts of your mind that protect you believe that they're helping you and keeping you safe by holding on to the unresolved behavior. And it's really up to us with hypnosis and NLP to update that software and allow that guard and the parts of your mind to know that this behavior is no longer safe anymore. It's not helping you to allow to get back to a balanced and harmonious state of equanimity. And when we do the process, the problems dissolve easily and rapidly. And it's certainly the truth that together, as we update the software of your deeper mind, you can make these changes rapidly and easily for yourself. Now, let me ask you a question. Are you enjoying this free case study so far? We've covered your journey to healing, how you can go from where you currently are to being at that stage of bliss. We've covered the fact that you have an unconscious mind and we all have two parts of the mind. And if you're not working with the right part, then you're attempting to make changes is futile. And we've also talked about the crossed wires of the mind, the alarm system, and the fact that we need to get things back into balance. At this point, you have two options. Option 1, do this on your own. Spend your year testing and learning, and spend your year making the same mistakes you made last year. Option 2, get it right in the next 28 days by being coached and directed by someone who has successfully done it over and over again with hundreds of clients that have now become raving fans. Skip the wasted time. Introducing the Freedom from Depression and Anxiety program. In this process, we're going to work together to delete and update the software that stops you from achieving your goal of being free of pain and suffering and living a happy, fulfilled, and purposeful life. And updating limiting beliefs like, this is my lot in life, or I have a chemical imbalance, or I have a family history, or I just feel helpless or hopeless, or I'll be this way forever. Deleting the software now for those overwhelmed women who have spent their lives putting others first, you're going to be able to learn to put yourself first, and you'll know that you deserve it so you can heal and be there for your loved ones in the long term, in the capacity to allow yourself to be balanced and in control. Men that have been taught to not show emotion, who feel stressed and overworked and unsupported, you'll find freedom from the pain so you no longer have to self-soothe and run unresourceful and unproductive safety behaviors that take you away from your true purpose. For those career-minded people who are ready to take the next step but know that something's holding them back, you'll be able to completely break the mold of what you believed was achievable and soar to heights beyond what you perceived were possible. Just being your best self. I'm looking for even more dream clients that are fed up with the status quo and have an intuitive knowledge that they deserve to live a life of their dreams, and just to be purposeful and committed to make changes and to evolve and step up to the next level of success, to be empowered and also learn how to communicate with others and themselves in their careers and relationships. I'm very selective about who I work with, so I first need to have a 15-minute discovery call to see if we're the right fit. This discovery call is where we can troubleshoot your current situation, see where you're at and where you're trying to get to, and see if the coaching program could be the solution for you. The discovery call is also to see whether we are the right fit or not. You could be one of my next new dream clients. The discovery call is not a free coaching session, and if you're looking at it in this light, please do not apply. If you're serious about improving your life and having some skin in the game, the discovery call is for you. I look forward to speaking with you and helping you create this transformation.